He stood alone on the battlefield, his armor cracked, his sword dripping with rain and blood, facing not just an enemy army, but an empire itself. His name was Saigō Takamori, remembered by many as the last true samurai, the man who defied the very government he helped to create.
Once, Saigō was a hero of Japan. In the mid-19th century, when the Tokugawa shogunate crumbled after more than 200 years of rule, it was Saigō who rose from the southern island of Satsuma to help restore the emperor to power. He fought for modernization, unity, and a Japan free from foreign domination. His courage and discipline made him a national legend. But the same man who helped build the Meiji government would soon turn his blade against it.
To understand why, we must step back into a Japan caught between two worlds, one foot in ancient tradition, the other rushing toward Western modernity. The year was 1868. Samurai culture still dominated society, but the winds of change were unstoppable. Steamships replaced sails. Rifles replaced katanas. The emperor's advisors began adopting Western dress, Western schools, even Western manners. For the samurai, whose very identity was built on loyalty, discipline, and the sword, this new Japan felt like betrayal.
Saigō Takamori, a man of unmatched honor, watched as the warrior class was stripped of its power. Samurai stipends were abolished, their swords banned, their top-knots mocked as relics of a primitive age. In the eyes of the new Meiji government, Japan's future lay in factories, not in warriors. But to Saigō, this was not progress. It was a loss of soul. He withdrew from the political scene, disgusted by the corruption and greed that now plagued the same leaders who once spoke of duty and virtue. He returned home to Satsuma, where his followers, thousands of loyal samurai, saw him as a living symbol of purity and resistance. They begged him to lead them, not in rebellion for power, but in defense of honor itself.
In 1877, Saigō finally unsheathed his sword one last time. The Satsuma Rebellion began, a war between the old and the new, between the soul of the samurai and the steel of modern Japan. Against rifles, cannons, and ironclads, Saigō's warriors fought with swords and spirit. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and outdated, yet they charged fearlessly into fire and death.
The rebellion raged for months. Cities burned, thousands fell. Each defeat pushed Saigō's army further south, until they made their final stand at Shiroyama. Just 500 samurai remained, facing 30,000 imperial soldiers armed with modern weapons. The night before the battle, Saigō looked upon his men, the last of their kind, and declared, "We die not as traitors, but as true Japanese." When dawn came, the cannons roared, the mountain shook. One by one, his men fell. In the chaos, Saigō was struck down, mortally wounded. Refusing to be captured, he committed seppuku, the ritual suicide of a samurai, to preserve his honor. His second-in-command ended his suffering with a final sword stroke. When the smoke cleared, the age of the samurai ended. Japan had chosen its path, one of modernization and empire building. Yet even in defeat, Saigō Takamori's legend only grew. To the people, he became the embodiment of loyalty, courage, and integrity, the man who stood up for what he believed was right, even when the entire nation turned against him. Decades later, the same Meiji emperor who had crushed his rebellion would grant Saigō a posthumous pardon, calling him a true patriot. Statues were raised in his honor, his story told in schools and songs. The empire that once branded him a traitor now called him a hero.
Enjoying this journey through history? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a 5-minute dive into the past. Got a historical mystery or epic story you want us to cover next? Drop it in the comments. Your idea could be our next episode on History in 5.